So how are you guys doing? Power walk on day one? Yeah. Is there somebody going to be hosting this for questions, or is us?
You got it.
Are we just picking out the crowd? Cool. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and raise your hand. Wave in the hand.
If you have questions, come on up here because the microphone that gets speaking here so we can hear you. We have, I know, some more space for you to shut down. If we don't, we're going to strangle.
Well, I think everybody's running a little late. It's a little hard to get through and figure out what's going on.
And if you guys notice, it's set up opposite as it was last year, so I keep walking into the bathroom wall.
We should put that microphone in the middle and make a line. Want to do that?
Cindy's going to do the microphone right here.
Yeah.
You just called me a roadie.
And if you guys want to ask questions, just, I guess, make a line right in front of the microphone.
Thank God Blake is here. It's all grown up.
Yeah. What's going on, man? What's your name?
My name is Lonnie. I'm from Diamond Bar. I live in California. I was just wondering, Blake, what was it like returning but into space?
I don't think I ever left. I think I was on set the whole time.
It was just really little, so I didn't get to see him.
It was awesome. I mean, I wish I could have done more, obviously, in space, but, you know, my time was up, and it was awesome. It was just a great experience all around. So, got to actually go into space for one episode. Thanks, man. Yeah, it is now. We're making it.
It's Turbo, baby.
Cindy.
What's your name, dude?
Michael. My question is for Jackie and possibly Scott, since you're behind the scenes. A lot of us wanted to know what happened to Demetria when she left at the end of the
Oh,
Turbo.
yeah. That's a good question. We wanted to know that too. Yeah, there was a lot of shift into Turbo that season. So there's some storylines that didn't get followed through, and I think once they went to space, it was just not really resolved. So that's kind of what happened. It wasn't good resolved.
She just kind of got lost then.
Well, I think what was originally planned is that we were going to reveal that Demetria and Dimitrox were twin sisters, obviously, because that was so. But I think that the show just made some different choices in season, so we changed things up from that original storyline. So she's still out there.
Cool.
Yeah, I played her too. I forgot that. I just had flashbacks. I remember the white gown and yeah.
I just happened to see, I was showing someone an episode the other day, and then watched the episode where Demetria came out of the tube, and it went from me to you. And you're like, ah! It was really funny. I'm like, I never knew that happened.
Wow, I know. I've never seen any of the TV shows. I have to watch them. You do? Oh, cool.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm Sarah,
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
from Arcata, California.
There you go.
Woo, woo.
Yay!
What was it like being on Power Rangers? I mean, I bet it was a heck of fun.
Is that for all of us?
Yes.
It was awesome. I mean, I was a kid. I was 11 years old when I got the role of Justin, and like I was telling everybody when I was just talking to them at my table, I was living every kid's dream. I was 11 years old. I grew up watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. To actually be in the same room with them was just, at first I was starstruck. I mean, it was awesome. I lived every kid's dream, so I wouldn't change it in the world.
Did the guys pick on you all the time?
Not no more. Not anymore. They did though, yeah. I always had a fun time with everybody on set though, as far as like them looking out for me, you know, big brother, little brother type of a lot, things like that.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome.
Did I pick on you? Did I pick on you?
No, I don't think so. I think it was more Jason Frank than anybody.
My name's Ben, and I'm from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Cool.
Wow, you came all the way for this? Wow.
Drink
Awesome.
singing gumbo?
No, I was gonna, but I bet there's not enough for all.
I wonder if you came the furthest. Anybody come further than Louisiana?
Got you beat, man.
Say that was Joshua.
My question is for Blake. Do you get to drive around in Mountain Blaster?
Yeah, it's parked in my backyard. It was funny because I just posted a picture on Instagram. It was a throwback Thursday picture of Mountain Blaster. And it was me and all my cousins. We got to take a picture inside Mountain Blaster. And some people were like, dude, do you have that? So I commented back just joking, and everybody thought I was serious. It was really in my backyard. They're like, can you go take a picture of the inside? Like, sure. But no, I don't own it.
So just to be clear, you do not use your board as a key ignition to drive.
Correct. I do not use the board for key.
Again, it's only two more. And how old are you?
Ben's 11.
How old are you?
10.
Yeah, you know, that's the size he was when I.
Hi, my name's Tim. I'm from London.
What's up, Tim?
Oh,
London.
Wow.
Anybody meet London?
Sorry.
Australia.
Okay.
What's up, Tim? What's your question?
As for Blake, what was it like being married at such a young age?
What was it like being a Power Ranger at such a young age? It was awesome. I got to be out of school, number one. No, I was on set being school, so it was just awesome. I mean, like I said, I was living every kid's dream. Either you hated Justin or you loved Justin. So I got a lot of mixed reviews for both. Hopefully more loving Justin than hating Justin.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cheers.
Hey everybody, I have a question for Carol and Hillary. Can you explain why your version of Diva Talks is the best?
I honestly can't explain that because I don't think it's true. I think when I had never seen Hillary play the role, and when I auditioned for it, I did my own take on it. I think it's really ironic how we played the character so totally differently, but still with a lot of the same nuances. And so I don't think one is better, in my opinion, one's better than the other, but I think we both had a lot of fun with the character of our own right.
Yeah, I've never seen Carol's Diva Talks. I mean, she looks just like me, so.
I was going to say, I think it's
really awesome. Yeah, and I got to create the part. The director let me have a ton of leeway. I improvised so many things, and I got to add so many things to the character, her vanity. You know, I always wanted to be the mirror, and just I was pregnant too, so I was kind of pissed off anyway. So of course, I think that added to the crazy. And you know, I had a giant ponytail, I had a cape, big heels, and I was like, I'm pregnant, you know. So I was pissed off anyway. So I don't know. I just got to create it from scratch. So it was awesome, and I'm sure she did a great job too. So
Blake, can you do the line, hey everybody in the blue
guys, I'm the new Blue Ranger. Isn't that cool or what?
His voice doesn't crack as much anymore.
Yeah. I tried to make it sound like,
Okay, this is for all of you guys. I was just wondering if you guys had like a funny story or a moment you could share with everyone here from working.
from Power Rangers.
Behind the scene, unseen.
the dogs.
There's, you know, I wasn't on set a whole lot because I was in the office writing, but a quick story is when I went to interview with Doug Sloan up at the studio. I walked into the office building. It was full of monsters, full of rubber monsters everywhere. You know, the office was full of them, and I was like, I want this job so much. And then when I got hired, I had Bumblebee in my office, and I was like super excited. So that was my beginning story, but the whole experience was a real blast.
A funny story of mine was we were filming on location out in Castaic Lake, and I had to hit a trampoline and jump off and go kick onto a Piranhatron. And I was practicing it all day, and I had it down, and then when we go to shoot it, I didn't tie my drawstring on my pants, so as soon as I hit the trampoline, my pants shot down to my ankles, and everybody started laughing at me. And I was a little kid, I was all insecure. I was like, I got all red stuff. I was like, come on, put me in the dressing room. I thought it was pretty funny. I looked back on it now.
See, nothing was funny because I was nauseous and throwing up. I didn't want anyone to really know I was pregnant because I didn't want to get fired. The day I got the part was the day that I found out I was pregnant, but eventually everybody, I think, figured it out. And everybody on the set was speaking Hebrew because it was all Israelis, and I had gone to Hebrew school and I didn't remember any could tell everyone was talking about me, and I knew how to say, shut up. So I said, check it for Bakasha, and everyone, you were talking about me. So then everybody clammed up and didn't speak about me in front of me after that. Yeah.
Well, about this group, since I work with basically everybody, even these nut jobs up here, I remember they seemed to be making me very well, and then this new queen came in, and I was directing, I was in charge of the voices directing, and so Carol shows up the first day with 2 goddamn little dogs, and brings them into the studio, right? And the last person who brought a dog into the studio peed in the studio, and then this one was a dog, and then my assistant said, Susie said, let's just leave the dog in your office. Well, pooped in my office. And then Carol showed up next day with these 2 little dogs, so it was not a happy time. She couldn't figure out why I was being such a cranky little guy, but it worked out okay.
Now he loves me.
Now I love her.
And my dogs. But Hillary had very big 6-inch platform heels to fill, which I wore as well. And one of the funniest things was when we first started shooting, everybody would call me Hillary. And like, Hillary, come here. I'm like, Hillary, Carol, really? And then poor Hillary, when she came back, the exact same thing happened to her. It was, Carol, she's like, really? Come on, I started this thing. So, I mean, it was a big adjustment. It was so much fun to be able to be so big and alive. And, the pizza episode was my favorite. Went on a long time.
Hi, I'm Ed from Philadelphia.
What's up, Ed?
I like Turbo so much that my little green rap for its name is Thunder. And I have a question for you guys. Why was the bombs named detonators?
Pardon me?
Why were the bombs called detonators? Like it's like,
Oh, because we couldn't say bomb.
It's like such a weird thing because they were obviously bombs.
Yeah, it was an S&P thing that, we had the directive to make sure that there was an impending doom every episode that was coming up from high energy. It's like we want more suspense and we want more impending doom, so we came up with the detonators, but we were not allowed to say bombs. So it's a made-up word, but that's
We couldn't say kill, we couldn't say
Careful, that microphone about to
yeah, die.
Hi, my name is Wynton. I'm from Los Angeles. My question is for Blake. I always wondered this on the episode where Justin came back in Power Rangers in Space. He said, "I'll always be there for you." So I've always wondered where was he countdown to destruction?
Probably remodeling the command center. I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, where was I? Writers.
He was there.
They're in spirit.
There you go.
My name is Adrian from Seattle. Turbo's my favorite season, by the way.
Thank you.
I just want to know, have you guys ever actually seen the season of Sentai that Turbo was adapted from, the Power Ranger?
I always saw like bits and pieces of it as they would put it into our footage that we filmed. But that, as far as like going and watching it, I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, same, just things they cut into our.
You could always tell when it'd be like a Super Sentai or something in our version. You would be like, oh, that's not our footage. Wait, that's not the same color. You know? Yeah. That's the only time I ever saw it.
Jackie saw it.
Yeah, I saw it many times, so. Part of my job, I used to dream it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adrian.
Hey guys, I'm Richie from New York. I have a question. What was it like for all of you guys during the passing the torch period where you have to introduce a whole new school of characters, and especially for you, like you're the pivot point from the old school to the new school. So what was that like?
That was a rough day for me. I mean, emotionally, because I grew up on with all the Rangers. We worked together for like, I don't know, it was a long time. I did 52 episodes of Turbo. And before that, I did the movie. So I was working with all of them up until passing the torch. And then when we passed the torch, it was very emotional for me because, like I said, I grew up on with them. I wish I could have led the team on passing the torch. But it was a great experience. Got to work with 2 different Power Ranger casts. Thanks.
Well, I'll tell you add one little bit to that, because I passed the torch about 10 times. And it's pretty rough to try, especially as I climb around with these guys when they have a good time. And then all of a sudden they're just gone. It's I say it does with a lot of people, but it's tough. And I went through, like I said, 10 times. So it's no fun.
Hi. Like, did you have nightmares about being baked into a giant pizza?
No, I love pizza. So that would have been a dream right there. No, I didn't. But do you remember where we filmed that? That was right in the same shopping center, Jason Frank's Chrysler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So every time on break, I just go down there and mess with Jason. He wasn't even working that day. I would go down there and mess with him.
That's like the Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
That's hysterical.
Also, say your son was adorable.
Thank you so much.
Hi. My name is Brian Vargas. I'm from Denver. And my question is for the Theme Foxes. So you guys had a lot of influence in your character with the nuance and quirks. If you had a chance, would you have maybe influenced the progression of their own characters in the series? Would you have changed anything that happened? Would you have made them go a different direction in their own lives? Like what the Theme Fox and Demetria?
I don't know if I understand the question.
Right. If you had more influence in the writing, would you have changed the story of Demetria characters?
Okay, this is really weird, but while I was doing Power Rangers, I was also doing Star Trek Deep Space Nine. And I was shooting half, during the week and half, and I had a new baby, so I don't remember really about specifically, other than I didn't feel like that the storylines were finished, because I guess they weren't. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I think that ultimately TV Talks just became, especially, with both your great performances, just a really humorous part of the counterbalance to the drama and action, which I always loved. I always loved the way you guys do the character, just to the way over the top. Was great.
Well, that was a really fun thing. I remember the first day I shot, the director was like, get bigger, and that was always my favorite thing, to be comedically big. I think after the movie after you wrapped the movie, when I took over the character, there was a lot more going on with Diva Talks, and they were building that storyline with Demetria, and I was looking forward to that. So then there was an alternate shift in the universe in the writing, and so all of that kind of went away. So it would have been nice to see what the original plan was. Because I was writing with Doug then.
Yes.
Is that, I didn't see that number. Is that when Jonathan came back after she really?
That's when there was a transition in the writing staff.
Yeah, Doug and Jonathan came back and changed.
Yeah.
But it would have been fun to see what would have happened, but they were both such great characters to play, so it was just fun to be able to be so animated and have so many things come out of the writer's imagination that you got to participate in.
Thank you.
Okay, this isn't exactly a term of question. It kind of pertains to the movie, but since we've got a writer and a director here, why did they stop using the Zeo powers? There was nothing wrong with them.
I think just in an attempt to freshen every season, even though the Zeo powers are still out there, we thought it would be interesting to create a whole new set of powers.
Yeah, I know. Well, production reason, I was wondering why the Rangers stopped using it.
Oh.
Yeah.
I lost my key.
Yeah,
Key fell under the thing and I couldn't get it this time.
You can see cats start to morph in the movie, but then they just disappear.
Well, I only did a Turbomorph. I never did a Xenomorph.
Yeah, but it's like we see cats start to morph into Zeo Ranger 1, and that's never mentioned again, and the Xenizers just disappear.
We weren't real big on reasons.
So, yeah.
We figured out how to get from B to B. There's some things that are overlooked in the way, That's the way it goes.
That's a great question. If Kat was here, she'd probably answer that.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
It's the same answer we have.
If I had an answer, I wouldn't be asking you. No, that's
very true.
Go stop by Catherine Sutherland's table and ask Catherine. She'll definitely have an answer.
She's always got answers.
Well, thanks anyway.
Thank you.
We don't know. We're sure for the right place.
I'll just hand the microphone off to the next guy.
All right, well, hi, my name's Ben, and my question actually is kind of related to the last one. It's in space, though. It's referring to the episode where John Bosch returned, and he morphed into the Black Ranger when his coin was destroyed during the Alien Rangers miniseries. So, like, just the turbo powers, the Zeo powers were still out there, so what was the decision for having him morph back into a Black Ranger when the coin should not have ever existed?
Talk about Johnny Bosch? And,
Yes.
Oh yeah, he got that point fixed.
He found it where he left it.
It was disintegrated in dust.
Coin repair service. Yeah, you know, those decisions are production things because John was so identified with Black Ranger, we had to find a way to get him back into that character. So, you know, like a lot of things, it's like a little patch on it, hope it holds.
Sorry, can you repeat getting back to the character thing?
Pardon?
Can you repeat that, getting back to character thing?
Oh, Johnny Bosch was so identified with Black Ranger when we did that reunion episode. We wanted him to play that character, and so, you know, I could come up with this long exposition story about backstory on it, but you know, ultimately, for the purposes of the episode, just keep getting back into it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Hi, my name is Angel Dees, and I was wondering, I've always seen Turbo a few times, and I saw that it took kind of a serious tone sometimes, even though it was funny. I was wondering, why did you guys decide to take a serious tone when the Sentai footage, or a lot of the footage that was used, was very comedic, like Tommy reading the instruction manual when he's driving the red light vehicle?
Well, I think some of the better seasons have both comedy and drama, and gives actors, you know, different roles to play and stretches their capabilities. So I think, and also as far as the audience goes, they like that. They like to laugh, and they like to be scared, and they like drama, so they can move through their hero. So I think the better seasons have that mix. And so if the Sentai had a very, very silly season, oftentimes we would decide to scale back and make it more dramatic, just to showcase our actors' abilities.
I think for me, one of my favorite things growing up was Batman series with Adam West, and I loved Catwoman, and I loved that she had that kind of sexy humor, and that was something I really wanted to infuse in the character, because I thought also, you know, grown-ups have to watch this movie and sit there, so I thought I'd give them something to, you know, little double entendres and things that they could appreciate, you know, also.
I remember seeing Batman Nika Talks, though I didn't think that her dress was really revealing at times.
That was for all you dads out there.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Michael. Sorry I'm meeting you guys. So I have a question for the writers. So when you did that turtle crossover in space, I wonder how that episode came to be actually.
How the turbo crossover came to be?
Turtles.
Turtles.
Oh, turtles.
Yeah. Ninja Turtles. That's all
Yeah,
right.
Ninja Turtles. Yeah, how it came to be?
Yeah.
I think, well, I can't say that I know that
I do.
definitively, yeah.
Heine got the rights to the Turtles for
Oh, there you go.
a very short amount of time. And the guy's a genius in terms of how to get the rights to something. And he screwed Spielberg. So, because he got the rights to the Addams Family. So I know he got the rights to the Turtles for a limited amount of time, for a certain amount of time. And so when he got the rights, he got those costumes, and we got 5 episodes. Bam, like that. I was instantly trying to cast sound bites because the original guys wouldn't do it. And it was done instantly. So they probably had the rights for 30 days or something.
All right, I did the Addams Family movie with Tim Curry and
The first one?
you know how to get I wondered how he got the rights to that.
Yeah, he just figured out that Spielberg didn't have the rights to a certain portion, a certain area, so he just did it.
Cool. Like, were you jealous?
Yeah.
Turtles, man.
I know, right? Could've taken Justin up into space. It says turtles.
And by the time space came around, they didn't have those unique morphing calls anymore. So I was curious why they decided to stop using those, because those were kind of like the cool, identifying unique things about each of them.
I think probably what happened was in the to keep the show fresh, we would make changes, and there was probably some people that said, "Let's do this every season. Let's keep things consistent." And then there were voices that said, "Let's change it up. Let's toss this out. This isn't working anymore." So the show was constantly evolving, and that's probably what happened. One of the producers probably decided we can do away with this, still do individual morphs, but it takes up screen time too. So I'm sure that was the reason why. And then down the road, they were brought back. So just one of those decisions.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi, Isaac. Going on kind of that question, I was always curious about who would have choreographed the morph, and for like what was it like for you as an actor having to learn that?
I was a kid, so I was a quick learner with everything that I did. I still am. So it was very easy for me. I mean, it's just like you're driving a car. You know, you're turning the wheel, you're back, it's an X, and you're here, and you shift the turbo. So it was very easy for me. Some of the Rangers did like some crazy, like time force or so, whatever they did. That was a hard morph. I was like, Jason, can you still do that? He's like, no, I can't. I gotta look at YouTube videos. I'm having a hard time with this. But yeah, I mean, it was easy for me. I only had to learn one morph.
Who came up with it?
Koichi. Most of the time we mimic the Sentai morphing sequence, and Koichi would teach it to the actors.
Yeah.
But he would design the American morphing sequence that you saw every week. That was his design. You know, how they got to be interesting.
Along with all the fight scenes and everything.
Oh yeah, and a million other things.
Yeah.
How long did that take you guys to get it right as a team?
On the movie? When we shifted the turbo on the movie?
Yeah, I mean for you it's going to be turbo, so how
well, we would have got it first take if I would have went the wrong way. But, no, I think we got it together within a couple shoots. We always did like one shoot. If we got it right, they would always want to do a backup one. Okay. To make sure we had it.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Hi, my name is Daytona, and I'm from Jersey. I was wondering, were you guys planning on putting Justin in as an 11-year-old, or was he just like they had to?
Yeah, I want to know this too, guys. Great question.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
If he was cast because he was cute.
Oh yeah. He's cute. But actually, if you go back and watch his episodes, he's like a really, really great actor. So every single watch, I was like, really good.
I think they really kind of like created the role.
Yeah.
I think they created the role around.
I think it was.
Yeah, they did.
He wanted a young boy to, you know, so the kids could, you know, live their fantasies through Blake's character. Like, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah, I was doing another film at the time, and the director was Shinji Levy, and we just started talking. I was doing karate one day, and he saw me doing martial arts, and he straight just asked me out of nowhere, and I was a huge fan. I was his age, and I was watching Mighty Morphin every single day. He was like, "Want to be a Power Ranger?" And I was just like,
He said what? You want to be a Power Ranger?
And I said, "You're joking." And then the next day he had Austin St. John and Amy Jo come to set, and I was like, "I don't know, I'm not leaving my dressing room. I can't. The Rangers are out there." And then literally the next thing I know, I was at a table reading with all the Rangers. It was awesome.
And we threw a lot of storylines at you. Like, we concentrated on your character a lot during the, so we, that was not like, whatever we asked you to do, you were right there for us. So it worked out for a great season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
My question is for In Space. Why, in episode 4, why did they use the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
I just told you that. because the owner of our company got the rights to the turtles for some amount of time. So if the turtles were really big, then he thought that it'd be a great combination to have the Rangers go against the turtles, or work with the turtles. But they only had the rights for a few episodes, so that's why
They had to make it quick. They had to do it.
They had to do it right then, but that's what they had.
Or else there
rights.
would have been no turtles in space.
Until
we would have went past 5 days.
It was really a quick turnaround. They had the opportunity and they took advantage of it.
Okay, well, it was smart to do a 2-season team up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ben.
This is You know, it's weird. I worked with Patty the other day, and I thought I could look at this. It's really strange.
Well, my question is, what happened to the Phantom Ranger? You quite wanted to.
Oh yeah, the Phantom Ranger. I think that's another one where we had some ideas that we weren't able to follow through on. But ultimately, he turned out to be like a real fan favorite and integral part of the show. So it was one of those, a little bit of pass the baton to the next writing team, and they didn't, they just had different ideas to keep the character more mysterious and actually reveal him or pay off. So
Very,
that's what
very
happened.
mysterious.
People
People
ask
ask
me,
mysterious.
"Who was the
Phantom Ranger?" I was like,
Yeah, we still get that.
I don't know.
He's here today.
We may pay off someday.
He was Scott, everybody.
No, it was not. It was Kerrigan. I think it was Goldhart. So he's over there.
Good to know. I'm just saying, I wrote fan fiction.
Don't put me in this.
Restore your imagination by leaving questions unanswered. That was our goal. It's whoever you have in your heart. That's your Phantom Ranger.
That's good.
Yeah.
I have a question for Jackie. So at the end of Turbo, Dave talks basically was saying she's probably the only villain to have actually defeated the Rangers at the end. So did you guys feel that was a gamble to do a season where the Rangers essentially lose at the end?
Yeah, we had a lot of conversations about that, and because we had done several seasons where the Rangers always triumphed, then we started talking about in terms of raising the stakes and making the Rangers just a little bit more human and fallible. So I think when we did that in Diva Talks 1, it was a surprise to the audience. It was more dramatic. Ultimately, of course, the Rangers did win.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah. But I think, to counterbalance the good of the Rangers, you need a good villain, and Diva Talks was a worthy villain. And I think subsequent years were like, yeah, that formula works. Let's have some unpredictability in the show, so we'll keep the kids guessing. Thanks for your question. Good one.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Georgia McKinney. And my question is for Carol and Hillary related to the last one. What was it like to be the villain that got to beat the Power Rangers at the end of the season?
Well, it was awesome. The weird thing was that I had another daughter, my baby and another daughter, and every time I would go to a kids' party, there would be Power Rangers there. And everybody would freak out, because they'd be like, Diva Talks is in the kitchen, she's gonna kill you. It was so confusing for my children, because I killed the Power Rangers, and people, why, mommy, why?
Kids are like, you want to come over and hang out?
Exactly.
No.
My kids were so unpopular, and I had no idea why. But, so yeah, it was great, except for that little residual thing that happened.
The mothers loved you. It's like, oh yeah, our kids are so well behaved when you're around.
That's true, but everybody, I had to have purple hair, throughout that, so I did get a lot of weird looks in preschool. Yeah, I was so scared the baby was going to come out with purple hair because they dyed my hair purple, which you couldn't really even see in the submarine. It just looked dark. But yeah, I wanted to. I thought it was cool, but yeah, it's fun.
You were way more committed than me.
Yeah.
No, I actually didn't know that I had defeated that we had defeated the Power Rangers, but now I do. No, but I have a funny story that I want to relate to what you said. My brother had a birthday party, a Power Ranger birthday party for a bunch of kids, and he asked me to call. I lived on the East Coast, and I called. I said, "Be Diva Talks, be Diva Talks." I called her. "Hello, Power Punks, I'm going to get you." And we started talking as Diva Talks. All the kids burst into tears. And I had to call back and be Demetria. And say, "Everything's going to be okay." It's very funny. So it was very, very fun being believable. But no, I didn't know. Congratulations. Nice job. Try forever. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
You've been sitting there forever.
Oh, I'm just working staff here.
I'm with Carol. How did you end up playing both parts? Was that something that was planned when, you found out that the original wasn't going to be around, or?
Well, the writers had intended that. Demetria and Diva Talks were twins, and so it was a natural that I would play both. And then originally got me to reprise a role, Demetria came out of the tube and didn't have to wear her veil anymore. But that was all the writers. So that was their whole plan, was to, I think it was to have Demetria and Divatox like fight each other or
Yeah,
something.
based on potentially.
Good versus evil.
Good versus evil. First time. That was always my favorite episode of Bewitched when she had her evil twin, so I was so excited about that plot line. Serena, that was great. Thank you.
This question's for Hillary. I just wanted to know, since you were working on both Deep Space Nine and Power Rangers at the same time, if there was any moment on set with either show or both shows that just stood out in particular that you could share with us.
Oh yeah, I think I screamed "Kill the Power Rangers" at in the Deep Space Nine. My director was Patsy from what's that show? Happy Days, which was all so bizarre. And then just going from the actual Star Trek, it's so crazy because it's exactly built like what you see on TV, and you're in the spaceship. And then I would go to the Power Ranger thing. I felt like I was on an acid trip. I really did. It's crazy. But and just as many, rabid fans, and also on Star Trek, you can't improvise at all. They want you exactly line for line, and we have to, really check with the producers if you want to say "and" instead of "the." Whereas Power Rangers, it was awesome because you could just really improvise and, let loose. So I had to go from like a very strict environment to like sort of a crazy one. It was really fun.
Rapid fire environment. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you guys that it's 15 minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ryan, and this question is for Carol and Hillary. I was curious if you had any specific inspiration as far as an actress or a character to help you play a villain, and if you have any favorite villain just across the board, not Power Rangers, but just any villain that inspires you or you think is cool.
There wasn't any one person that I was going for when I started developing Divatox. I was kind of thinking of the name of like diva and over the top and into some of the same things that Hillary was talking about, like being in the one in the mirror and the vanity and the whole thing. And then I was really flattered because in PD God they compared me to Julie Newmar's Catwoman.
Right, and that's exactly the character that I thought of when I created it. I was obsessed with her when I was little. I loved that Batman show, and I loved her. I liked her as the Catwoman. There was so many different Catwomen too on that show, and that's exactly Julie Newmar. And then I know when Uma Thurman came out with the Poison Ivy character, everybody was like, "She copied you." And I'm like, "No, I copied Julie Newmar, so don't worry."
Thanks. Thank you.
What was your favorite quote and moment from the show? Each and every one.
Right, here we go. Guys! I'm the new Blue Ranger! That was my favorite. That's when I got introduced. I was like, hey, I'm the Ranger! What's up?
I have to think a moment. I wrote a bunch of those episodes, but it's hard to remember in particular, in space. Oh, I like when at the end of a Countdown to Destruction, when they had to, the public had to turn in Power Rangers, and everybody stepped up and said, that's mine. Everyone stepped up and said, I'm a Power Ranger, I'm a Power Ranger. I thought that was a very powerful moment that I stole from Spartacus, but I don't get that.
What did you say?
Credit development term.
I loved, obviously, my tongue with the fly. That was really awesome. When we did it, there was no fly there. They just said, look here, look here, look here. And I loved how, when I saw the movie, how my tongue came out and unfurled and ate the fly. And I loved it.
Well, with this group, obviously, it was yes, my queen. But with Gemma, there's so many of them. It's rules on it. Yeah, we'll stick with yes, my queen for now.
I like that too.
Well, I liked the episode where I got to have my tongue really long too, but I think just basically being able to go, get there, it's power, folks! All the great alliterations.
pizza episode was good.
I love that episode. That was the best.
Evil pizzas were no match for a simple stoplight.
What was that? Evil pizzas, no match for something.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
No questions? No more questions?
Anyone?
Come on, you were about to do it.
Okay. This is for Blake Foster. Can you do the morphine?
Yeah. I'll do it. Shifting the turbo!
Actually, I thought of this question because Kathy back there. Is it true that the Phantom Ranger actually was supposed to be unmasked in the Countdown to Destruction arc, but they kind of cut that because they went from 3 episodes to 2 episodes? And it was like supposed to be Zordon's son or something?
We never considered that, but we did discuss giving him an identity and unmasking him, and various thoughts were tossed around, and never, we decided to keep him mysterious.
And what happened to the Blue Centurion?
Well, he's still out there.
Still out there? Okay,
Yeah.
He's down on Earth.
Busting people first meeting.
And he's hanging out with Justin.
He's hanging out with
They're buddies.
We're both blue.
Lives in Sun Valley.
It's a traffic cop.
This question's for Blake. You being a kid when you got the role and everything, was there ever any people stopping you at school or?
Yeah, all the time. I couldn't, that hair, man, I swear. I go to the mall and I put glasses on, people still recognize me. I couldn't go anywhere that with the hair. And I was doing other films at the time too. And I did 2 films right before I got on Power Rangers, and then I did a film after Power Rangers, so the hair is really, I think I should grow the hair back, actually. But yeah, I was homeschooled, so I had to stay at home. Yeah. Thanks. Good question.
So, I'm Shannon from LA. I'm sitting here thinking about a question and going, but I can get up and ask. So, I've always been curious about the villains' costumes. How comfortable were they when you were walking around? Or were you like, strapped in that you had to stay in it and they were potty breaking? Just curious about the costumes.
It starts, I think you were strapped in.
Well, what happened was when I found out I was pregnant the day I got the movie, so I told the costume designer, look, I'm pregnant, so you need to make it so that the laces can be let out. And she said, oh, that's fine. And then, my boobs are going back and forth, bigger and smaller in the movie because they shot out of sequence, but she made it so that I could, expand with it. And it was really uncomfortable, and, the cape weighed a ton. There was huge boobs. The mask was a pain, it's like on your face. The mask was the worst. And,
So you liked it?
And being pregnant, it was really uncomfortable. And I think also on my character, it was great that my character screamed and yelled so much and had her minions do everything because I wouldn't be able to kick and fight. If you see in that movie, I really don't do, hit it. I just yell at people.
Well, because mine was made for TV, I had a little bit more coverage than Hillary did. But so it wasn't as uncomfortable. Plus, they made it so I could fight with the Rangers because I do martial arts, so they kind of added that in. And so mine wasn't as bad as Hillary's, but the mask was terrible. And then they didn't want to make a new mask because they knew that Hillary was going to come back, and I keep going, this mask doesn't fit me right because it was made for her face. So it would be like crooked, like adjusting it. But you just got used to walking around a 6-inch over-the-knee platform.
Really?
Boots. They were
They were
6-inch tall.
They were vinyl, they were really hot. And that's why also towards the end, I was really sad to be.
Am I here? No.
Get out of here, clown. I always thought.
Jason Frank, get out of here.
I always thought when I first got on the set and we walked into the soundstage in Valencia, when you would walk in the door, behind you, up on a ledge, they had all the monsters, and I thought that was pretty cool because I didn't get to work with any of those Mighty Morphin monsters, but they had them all displayed up on the top of the shelf behind when you walked in the door at the soundstage, which was very cool.
Yeah, and that Jackie has that picture of that.
We had all the monsters.
That
That was
in
cool.
the office. So
I stole that picture and put it in my presentation tomorrow.
Cool. Thank you.
That's it.
We have about 5 more minutes, so does anyone else have anything
Anybody
to
else
say?
have any more questions? One more?
Okay.
A couple more?
It's for you, Blake. What's your thought about when you say that again? When you got bit by the ant and Justin had strength?
Oh yeah, I got that superpower. Flick the piranhatrons with my finger and they just go flying across the room. It was awesome.
How do you remember this?
That was my favorite. That was my favorite. That was my favorite episode.
Oh,
That's the only reason why I remember it.
I wrote it.
It's Jackie's favorite too.
And it was all based around Justin. So I was like, yes, I got a lot of screen time.
Thanks. This question's for Blake. I just want to know if when you first walked in the movie, you was scripted or not, you messed it up.
No, I think that was in the script for me to go the opposite way. Oh, excuse me.
Oh, yeah.
They wrote it that way.
Thank you. Again, one question for Scott and one for Jackie. Scott, what was the reasoning behind choosing Alpha 6's voice actor for Giorgio?
When people pissed me off on this show, I would usually cast if they left the show or something changed, I would cast the opposite. So once one person left the show, I made his voice a girl. And when somebody else left the show, I made the guy. And in the case of Alpha, we decided to go totally different directions. I was not happy that Alpha wasn't doing the show anymore. And I decided to make it as different as I could and made it a girl. She was a friend of mine, so we got mine.
And for Jackie, how come when Space rolled around, Alpha's personality changed just because of the voice?
Why did his personality change?
Yeah, just because the voice changed, the personality did it.
Oh yeah, different wiring and different components in Alpha just gave him a different personality as well as a voice. Yeah, but just one of those decisions that.
He was just making out in space.
Yeah, he was just upgraded. You know, it's like he had a new OS. So.
Wasn't there a girl inside the costume at that time?
Pardon?
Wasn't there a girl inside the costume?
And there's a girl inside the costume.
Yeah, there was.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, so if nobody has any more questions, we want to thank you guys.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Awesome.